Welcome to Football is Nice, a modern, postmodern, retro-modern, beyond analysis football podcast with me, Russell Brand, and my mate and very skilled and prestigious producer, Gareth Roy. Why are you looking at me like that?
Is that what we're doing? Looks like we're doing MasterChef today.
Because I've got several dinners, Gareth.
Russell's got about 8 dinners in front of him.
I am intermittent fasting, and anyone who knows anything about intermittent fasting will know you can eat whatever you like during that 8-hour window. That's what one of my mates, Dean, who listens to the show, West Ham fan, said. Because the thing is, though, intermittent fasting, during when you can eat, so you can eat what you want. That's the whole point. Like, as if you could go to Cadbury's world and just smash it up. I don't think so.
Your dinners, though, they're like polar opposites. One is like a ridiculous healthy concoction that is, I'm supposing it's breakfast.
Porridge with bits in it, that is, mate.
So many bits, though. How many bits
hemp
do you
seeds,
want?
Walnuts, cranberries.
Walnuts?
What was that?
Yeah, walnuts. It's a type of nut.
Not just footballers, you can't pronounce their names. It's nuts now.
It's a shame, isn't it, about that? I got walnuts.
Berries.
Berries, yeah. Goji berries. These little Pippi. I call these the Pippi Longstockings. Tiny little black seeds like that.
Is there any actual porridge in there?
I like to go for 50-50. Why
Right.
make the garnish your friend?
Right.
And also, that's the real nutrition. What's porridge? My mate Mark, who I used to live with above a bank in Bermondsey when I was a lad. Yeah. Mark Pinero, he said that rice, pasta, all that's peasant food, he said.
That's my main source of...
Well, all right, then he
You're
backed it
talking
up.
to an Italian.
Well,
It wasn't an attack on Italy. It was an attack on carbohydrates. He was saying like that all those things. He goes, that's for. He goes, no nutritional value. It's for the poor. He was poor, by the way, and it was like he'd realised it, and he was still
angry at it.
That house was like Fight Club. Like there was big stacks of magazines everywhere, people going around on bicycles. I mean, there was no fighting. I was stressed that.
What would Mark have made of your other dinner that looks like it's come straight out of the Beano?
What,
Grange Hill or
my
something?
bangers and mash. What's wrong with that
He
dinner?
still mixes it with the peasants, Ross.
I've never lost the common touch. It's who I am. It's where I'm from. Hey, so listen, we've got so much to get through because there's been a lot of actual football for us to analyse. You'll have Russell's breakdown. I'll be reading some. Thank you very much, Jade. Jade's just bought us a drink. That's very kind of you. I'll be looking at me and Gal's gamble war where we predict results and see who's won and who's best at predictions. Gareth now believes he can predict, and I think not just predict, but create the future.
That's right.
That's what you believe now, because you feel that lad. I was watching Brentford v Liverpool, 3-3. Did he do? Was he the one? Tony.
Yeah, he did great. He didn't score, but he did help a great deal.
You think he's the new Lukaku?
I do.
Or, as I call him, Nukaku.
Excellent.
Oh, there was a race, wasn't there? I shouldn't have set it up. I should have just gone straight in. Yeah, and now Martin Keown, you said that as well, that he's the Nukaku. Well, I've got quite a lot of knowledge that I'm willing to share with people. We've got some new jingles. We've got your tweets and content. I asked about mind games. My mate Paddy actually sent something about mind games. So it's good that at least my mates are listening to this podcast.
Yeah, mine
and actually
are as well.
It's doing,
They like it.
Well, we usually insult our mates because you said your mate Andy was carrying a lot of timber. You used to do a podcast with him. He's pretty good. You can have him on here if you want to. I'm not intimidated.
Oh, he's wonderful. He sent me some lovely pasta. Oh, no. Peasant food.
You lousy peasant. You silly, lousy peasant. And we've got some jingles like your mate Lorenzo. He's dropped out since
He has, yeah.
He's done his bit. I mean, he did that bit at the beginning, didn't he? And my mate says, "Football is nice." That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a nice mix now. It's a diverse range of jingles. We've got some more from listeners this week.
Oh, good. We'll be listening to those as well. Jenny May Finn, have you been paying close attention to the activity of Norwich? How have Norwich been doing, Jenny May Finn's team?
The store was shut when I passed it.
There's an actual. You went to the shop. You went to the Norwich shop, did you, mate?
Well, I walked by it and I went, that's relevant to the podcast.
Did you pay attention to their result this week?
I'd like...
Unbelievable.
Can I just show, Jenny's the producer of this show and all of my Under the Skin luminary content.
no, you're not
I just want to show you something.
No.
I want this to be included as a promotional clip, Gareth, right? Right, this is like, see, we do these things where we predict the scores. On the results page, look what she's done. She's just crossed out the word fixtures, which is printed, and put the word results in a
put it the wrong way
pencil.
around.
That looks like something that like Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman would have found in Seven, in that lad's flat who was doing them 7 murders. Who was he, that lad?
I don't know.
Anyway, he was a murderer, and that can't be right. So, look, Norwich obviously lost 2-0 to Everton, and let me see what you and I predicted, Gal, in that instance. Why can't I see that? Am I looking... What? It's so confusing, Jen. This is a different set of fixtures altogether, isn't it?
Yeah, because
it's not.
you wrote it on the
shit,
page.
Gareth, you predicted that correctly.
Thank you.
He knew that was going to be the...
Did I say 2-0?
You said 2-0. You were 100% correctly right. I predicted 3-1. Both of us predicted that Norwich would lose, but
so that's with our new scoring system. That's
3 points.
3 points for me.
Damn.
1 point for you.
We got Brian Davis, aka True Geordie, coming on here to talk to us because he's perhaps on YouTube the most significant and potent football podcaster, along with Ben Foster, who we've also had.
He had a good game the other day.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't see.
Yeah, he started for Watford. They drew with Newcastle, which is perfect link to True Geordie.
You love it when something like that happens, don't
I
you?
do like a link.
That. Yeah, like that's because you've worked in television, producing all those things like 9 out of 10 cats and all that. If you see a link, you're like, that's mother's milk to you, isn't it? Or that one where they have the Sunday lunch and it's them lads Lovejoy and that other fella.
Yeah, it's brunch. It's just before lunch.
What's his name?
Brunch should
Simon.
be one of your many brunches.
What it is, I'm intermittent fasting. Once the fasting stops, then the fun starts. It's a bit like that gambling slogan. Okay, so we've got him coming on. I asked that question about mind games. So, I mean, I've got to stop announcing the content and just do the content, haven't I now? That's my own background in mainstream media. What we would derisively refer to mainstream media. Can't trust those guys. But this isn't that podcast. This is where we just have a bit of fun.
What about some reviews, right? You always like to kick off with some reviews.
I do actually, don't I, Gal?
Yeah.
Here's one, because I want you to leave reviews, 5-star ones on iTunes, or wherever you leave your reviews. Or listen to your podcast. You might not be a review leaver. That might not be how you identify. You know, like when, I like that thing actually, like Dawkins, who I mostly disagree with on lots of things, Richard Dawkins, I mean, like, because I'm religious and Richard Dawkins isn't. He goes, it's stupid to say like a baby is Christian or Muslim. It's like saying they're a Spurs fan. This baby is a Spurs fan. And then if a baby was a Spurs fan, it's got a lot to worry about.
Oh, yes, it does.
I'll make a sweeping point, Gal. I'm too easily caught up in the hysteria that surrounds football. I've always been vulnerable to hysteria. I'm hysterical because, remember, if you listen back to some of the earlier episodes of Football Is Nice, by God, it seems like a lifetime ago. Like, I'm like, oh, Arteta, dead man walking, he's finished, it's over. I'm just absorbing that from the media.
You are absolutely.
Now, Arteta, he's new king of Spain.
Those are two clubs at the moment where the narrative changes every week. Probably the most, I would say, Spurs and Arsenal. I mean, strangely, they're now on the same amount of points because Spurs started with 3 wins and now have gone 3 losses, and Arsenal have had the exact reverse. And it has gone from Arteta's got to go to the fans singing his name after the game.
I think they like a youngster. Everyone likes a youngster. When a youngster comes through, that's one of the great narratives of football. And because Emil Smith-Rowe is doing well.
Yep, and Saka.
And Biaku Saka. Listen, like, I can only say, even Emil Smith-Rowe, that's the same number of syllables, but because it's basically sounds like a traditional English name, I can handle it. What I will say, mate, is like that's a posh sounding name, not posh lad. Like that's because like when he talks to me, he's one of your own proper like sort of we all right, isn't he? Like I think there was a craze for double-barreled names among working class.
Ah, right.
That's what's happened.
Ah. Did you get that from one of your documentaries?
What do you mean, one of my documentaries?
Did you watch those Class documentaries by...
Oh, yeah, Grayson Perry.
Yeah.
They're bloody good, actually. Taste and Class. All right, but like let me just read this one thing. This is a lovely review. This is from Dylan Heil.
We'll leave it there.
Let's not make any jokes about the word Heil or what that immediately makes you think. Michael Antonio is nice. He's headed it. Great pod from old Russ and Gareth. They eloquently sum up what it means to be a football fan. I particularly enjoy the mentions of Mikel Antonio every 4 minutes, and I love Russell's review of this review. Hey, he predicted that happened. Well done, you, mate. And I love Mikel Antonio. I love him barreling about, all strong.
Yeah, all confident.
all strong, all confident in a post-match interview.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see that, isn't it? And he's top of the charts at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, he's top of
Scoring-wise.
yeah, that's right. That is what he is. I love him. I love the hassle. I love the last-minute goals. I love that we beat Leeds because... do that jingle, Jen. I'm saying I love a lot.
I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Because what I like is that I thought after we lost to United,
Yeah.
I thought, oh no. Because if you're a West Ham fan, I heard him talk about this in TalkSport, like they say that West Ham fans are particularly pessimistic and morose. Like they go, when are you going to be satisfied, Simon Jordan and Jim White were saying? Like, why can't you be confident?
Well, I guess for a West Ham fan, it must feel like you're always on the precipice of things, of a downturn. Because all it would take, I think we've said before, is Rice getting sold or Bowen going to Liverpool, which the rumour keeps coming back of Bowen going to Liverpool. Bowen scored the other day? That was a typical Hull Bowen goal, that was. Coming off the wing, moving in and then
Cutting inside.
Into
the channel.
Yeah, and I mean, he wouldn't have got a deflection or 2 deflections, which I think he got. But yeah, I understand the West Ham thing. You feel like, I mean, the board is not a board that you kind of you can put all your trust into. Certainly, is it? You know, there's been a lot of issues there. So I understand it, certainly as a Hull fan, that a couple of the best players get sold and, you know, suddenly you're battling relegation again.
Like when we lost we lost to United, I thought, oh no,
Yeah.
Antonio's not playing, Lingard's not there, trouble. But then we beat United. Admittedly, it's in the... Part of the problem
the
is
League
that
Cup.
the word Carabao, is it not even that anymore?
I don't
They
think
change
it's
it too
called the
often.
Carabao. I notice it's still a sponsor of the Cup, but I think it's back to being called League Cup or EFL Cup. But yeah, it was that must have been nice. We didn't even mention it last week that they were, because we record this on a Wednesday and they were playing Wednesday night. But did you watch that game? Or?
No.
But great result though.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm really pleased. There's another review. Look, Gal, Jenny and Russ. And it says I can't see what it says. This is Tombo Thumb, which I enjoy as a name. At times irreverent, at times philosophical, at times genuinely insightful, always full of warmth. Forget Eminem, Mbappe, Neymar, Messi. It's all about GJR.
Oh, I thought they meant Monday Night Football, but no, that's not M&M, is it?
We
No.
don't know about acronyms. We don't know about saying people's names correctly. There's a lot of things we need to address. Now, I've got some brilliant insights. You know, my daddy goes Brentford now.
Oh yeah, you said.
He says, do I want to go? I said, I'll go when West Ham go. I'm not making that mistake again of going to a football ground when it's not West Ham playing.
Was he there for the Liverpool game?
Yeah.
Ah.
He said it was amazing.
Yeah, apparently everyone was talking because it overshadowed the Man City Chelsea game, didn't it? Which was a fantastic game, also different reason, obviously not as many goals, but the Liverpool game was what everyone was talking about on the Saturday, and obviously Sunday it was about Spurs Arsenal.
I tell you what I admire about pundits. I'm all right at hyperbole and slapdash condemnation or celebration of a player, but when they actually say things like I think it was, I can't remember who it was, saying they were overloading the far post and that's where all their goals came from.
Yeah.
Like Brentford's goals against Liverpool. I was like, oh yeah, they are doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm amazed that anyone can spot any patterns. I had a magic lesson
Basic
yesterday.
tactics.
Yeah, basic tactics. I can't spot it. I wouldn't know what anyone's doing unless people were like chasing the ball like children, or
Yeah.
everyone's sitting too deep or whatever. Or like when like Spurs played Arsenal and like they've got no midfield, and Graham Souness, who gets so passionate, doesn't he? Like, Graham
absolutely
Souness
does.
is actually like he's discussing war crimes when
Yeah.
he's discussing football, isn't it? He's like, oh, there's no midfield. He's not. He's sitting back only doing sideways passes. He's like so angry,
It's
isn't
like he takes it personally, doesn't he? I mean, I watched the Arsenal Spurs and the Sky analysis afterwards, and so it's like the Graham Souness show, isn't it? Like Tony, I was really looking forward to hearing what Tony Adams was thinking, because I really like Tony Adams.
I love Tony Adams. Let's get him on.
Well, let's hopefully get him on. That'd be amazing. But like Souness just takes over. No one else is allowed. I mean, he's fantastic. He's great. He's
good value, because as a
television.
pundit, you want them to come off the fence. The thing is with Graham Souness is he's opining aggressively. Tony Adams has transcended. like he don't care, does he?
No.
So, well, look, mate. Yeah, he goes, look, that was a penalty, but I don't mind. Like, he's totally relaxed, isn't he, Tony?
Yeah.
And I may say, I think it's commonly known. He's written about it, he's in recovery, and what I recognise there is Tony Adams through recovery as like. Graham Souness needs to go in recovery. That's what I'm saying, because he's like, I don't know what from. I'm not suggesting he's got any particular tendencies or whatever, but if you're upset about like who's it? Højbjerg?
Yeah.
Not
Holding hands with Dele Alli, which he kept
holding
saying.
hands with Bill, yeah. Well, I think that's nice. They found each other. No, like yeah, he was actually a bit too angry.
I loved Tony Adams when he talked about the young players, because he was really passionate about the young players. Obviously, that's been the narrative this week, Smith Rowe, Saka especially, and about them basically carrying the rest of the club, really, which is amazing. But Adams said, "Oh yeah, I love those young players. They call me Mr. Adams." He was really happy about that.
Mr. Adams. Well, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, go on, Jen.
True Geordie's in the waiting room.
I'll get him in. So we got True Geordie on the show. True Geordie's series of sort of broadcasts and podcasts are very successful on YouTube. And I think now... Are you there, Brian? All right, mate? Can you hear us?
Right, mate.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Thanks for coming on. How are you? Where are you? What's going on? What do you feel deep down? How do you cope with life?
I try and not take myself too seriously, mate. How about yourself?
That's one of the techniques. But one of the other techniques is I sometimes take myself a bit too seriously. I'm intermittent fasting, for example, and that can be a gateway drug to feeling a bit serious.
I'm an intermittent egomaniac in the sense of sometimes I think I'm amazing and then other times I hate myself.
Right. This is a challenge that we all face. Now, with me doing this podcast is Jenny Mayfin, the producer, introduce you, and my co-host here, Hull City fan, Gareth Roy. Just turn the laptop so you can see him, mate.
Nice to meet you, Brian.
All right, I'm trying to... Here we go. There we go.
All right,
there
mate. Nice one. Thanks for coming on.
Can I just say, Russell?
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of you. I absolutely love you, mate.
I love people that start conversations like that because what that does, it takes all the pressure off, innit? Now I can go out and play my natural game. I love your content. I love what you've done. Thank you very much. I'm longing to come onto your podcast as well. When I have people on my podcast, I tell them I love them straight out, so no one feels like threatened or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like say someone that could be Larry, like Bill Burr or Ricky Gervais, who I know you've had on yours. I'll tell them out the gate. Listen, I love you, so calm right. Don't be out an arsehole because like I don't want to deal with it, you know. So yeah, I appreciate you doing that.
I'm finding this road you're going down fascinating. How very rarely do Hollywood sort of celebrities all of a sudden turn into sort of London taxi drivers.
That's right.
It's amazing.
That's my move.
I like it. Like I seen a picture of you in a West Ham shirt the other day. I was like, this is fantastic. I love it. He's just such a bloody bloke.
Hey, listen, look, I'm living in both worlds. So let me just show you something that Gareth and I have been discussing. That's one of my breakfasts, clinging on to the origin class of my origin. But here is the class I live in now. Yes, delicious walnuts and goji berry breakfast. So listen, mate, you've started off let's talk about your trajectory, because you started off very much doing something, I guess, you like out of love for yourself. It's become hugely successful, and now you've got like a meaningful voice. Now, like it's sort of started off, I guess, like with like almost fan TV type territory. How's your relationship changed with Newcastle, with Newcastle fans? What's happened as a result of like getting an audience and the power that comes with that?
At the start, I was the raving lunatic, sort of basically Nile Ranger, who you might have heard of. But disrespected the fans, saying if you're going to boo, don't turn up. And a very good friend of mine had just recently passed away, and his whole funeral was about how much he loved Newcastle. And it was really like the wrong time for him to say something like that in my life. So I sort of put the laptop on and went at him. And at the time, I was... a deep-sea diver working offshore. So my plan was never to become a YouTuber. It was always just to tell this guy, I don't know if I can swear on this show or not, but, where to go. And then people sort of responded. It went viral very quickly. And I'm a bit of a natural businessman and an opportunist. So I thought, go on then. We'll see if I can get out of the diving game and do something a bit easier. Where my biggest worry is a cup of tea hot. So I went for it. I went from a six-figure-a-year job back down to very small wage in YouTube terms, and then rebuilt from there. Now, basically, I've got a podcast, I've got a football show, and In terms of Newcastle, at first, there was a lot of Newcastle fans who I think thought, who the hell does this guy think he is? Is he trying to speak for us, or is he, does he think he stands for the fans? Because in Newcastle, there's not many famous people. You know, we've got Shearer, Cheryl Cole, and Dick, and that's about it. And when
I was really thinking I might be able to add one, but
Gaza.
Spender. Spender.
Yeah. There's not many.
Jimmy Nail.
So,
Jimmy Nail, Spender. You got to include Jimmy Nail.
I mean, we're going back on this. That's the point. So you know, when someone in a working class area sort of rises above and says, actually, I don't really give a shit. Some people love you and some people hate you, and I guess that's life. But no, luckily, I think the majority realised I wasn't trying to be some sort of spokesman for fans, because Newcastle fans are more than capable of doing that themselves. I just wanted to have my take on things, and then luckily, along the way, I met a lot of very smart, intelligent people who helped me set up a production company, and I surrounded myself with good friends who support different clubs, and we basically have a roundtable debate show every weekend where we tell each other that each other's talking a load of rubbish.
Fame and celebrity, particularly what you might term sort of cult celebrity outside of sort of the mainstream. One of the things I learned mostly was when I done that Trues thing, which Gareth produced. Me and Gal made it together, right? Was that?
Loved it, by the way.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks. That was full on. Like when because I was coming from a background of like, you know, entertainment. I'm a stand-up comic and all that sort of stuff, and I've got the, you know, the ego that's sort of required to do that kind of thing. I started to feel like what it is I'm creating this situation. I'm creating it through a kind of charisma magic. But actually what in reality I learned, and this is, please God, I've taken on board these changes, is sometimes what you feel and say aligns with what a lot of people feel. And when you say it, they're like, yeah, that's what I feel. That's what I feel. If you're sensible, you'll recognize that you are a kind of a servant of that voice, and that you want to help people and elevate unheard voices, give voice to the voiceless, all those kind of rather noble and beautiful ideas. If though you're an egomaniac, you'll think, I am in charge of this and I can ride this bitch till the wheels come off, you know, and make me crazy.
I've got to be honest, it's 50-50 for me, mate. Some days, yeah, I feel like from where I've come from, obviously I'm a working class kid who grew up on a council estate. There's days I think, look at me, look at what I've achieved, and then other days I'm like, you know, recently we've been planning like a charity event, and you know, you realise how lucky you are to be able to help so many people. So it is hard, and I've struggled a lot with that, but looking at people like yourself, it makes me feel quite normal.
Well, the people I've noticed, the guests get a dig in. The guests get a dig in. Like when Ben Foster, when he come on, he done this thing where he goes, you know, I don't care what people say, you're great. But I think he was doing that to backtrack on too much of a compliment. That's what I think he was doing.
Right.
He was backtracking because when he'd gone, I'll come round your house if you want. And I was like, oh no, you don't need to come round, mate. Like, so I think he had to sort of backtrack on a compliment. Hey, so there's a few things I want to ask about. One, the deep sea. I'm impressed by deep sea diving. Even if it was like, we're going to talk to a man who's a deep sea diver, and then like nothing else had happened, I'd be sort of into that. Like, that's pretty mad. And the other thing I want to know all about is like what you feel about Newcastle right now, and why Newcastle is. I'll tell you this thing. You probably know it. You know, Irving Welsh, Train Spotting. You know, Hibs fan, he says like this thing that he feels like he always believed that deep down everyone else secretly wanted to support Hibs, and they were sort of pretending that it was all right to support Rangers or Hearts or whatever. And I feel like, you know how every football fan perhaps thinks there's something unique and particular about their club. I bet Gareth has his own sort of stories about what Hull means. I certainly, with West Ham, I'm like, well, hold on a minute, who did 3 players come from in '66? Oh, what about the way that we've moved stadium, and like, you know, like, oh, the Cockneys and the ability to operate in the hooligan world. And like, I know Newcastle, you'll have your. Do you feel that there is a particular, you know, like almost like the Geordie nation, all that stuff?
There's something special about Newcastle. There's no doubt about that in my head. Bobby Robson is what I think of when I think of Newcastle. I think of someone like the way he spoke about our club is the way I want everyone to speak about our club in an ideal world, you know, like the pride he had. I remember watching a video of him giving Gary Lineker a tour around St. James's, and he stopped them to admire the quality of the doors we had at St. James's. Like, he was just so proud of everything, you know, and he took us when we floundered after Keegan left. He took us from rock bottom all the way into the Champions League and gave us great memories. And he got Shearer back scoring again. And as much as Shearer is my hero, and he always will be, the heart of Newcastle is Bobby Robson to me. Like, that's what we are. Do you know what I mean? That sort of passionate, don't take yourself too seriously, but also live and breathe football. And that's what we were. And unfortunately, Mike Ashley is like one of those dementors out of Harry Potter that's just come and sucked all of everything good out of the room's gone. And now Bobby Robson sadly has passed away. And we're just left with this ghoul waiting for him to piss off.
Why is that? I wonder why Mike Ashley stay. There's two questions off the back of that. One is why Mike Ashley is staying so long. Gareth says he must be making money, because otherwise why would he endure it so much? And then, yeah, is that what you reckon? Money.
I bumped into someone the other day who happened to serve him in a restaurant, and I believe the tip alone that Mike Ashley left was in the tens of thousands. Now, when you realise that he hasn't spent any money outside of any of his own money, outside of the profit that the club generates, not including the consistent free advertising he's given himself at Sports Direct for the best part of over a decade now. He said back in 2007, 2008, "You've made your feelings clear. I'm ready to leave." You know, nearly 15 years ago he said that. And now he's still holding out, expecting all this money for a club that, you know, if you're trying to sell a house, and this is very similar to that on a grand scale, and you don't sell it for 15 years after saying you want to and putting it on the market, probably want to drop the price, don't you? You know? So the guy's a clown, and he's exactly what we don't want in football. You know, this is not a place to make money. This clearly is a place for billionaires to have fun. And if you ain't got that kind of money, well, what you doing then? You know? Hey,
don't you worry about like the ethical aspect of, like, you know, say, you know, when like if you got took over by a country, like, do you sort of think, I don't care? like right, if you go, oh, they got a terrible human rights record, or do you not care?
Well, I mean, I care about human rights, but I don't think now is the time for football to develop a conscience when we've let all of these other scumbags in who, like, you know, when you look at what the Glazers have done to Manchester United, for example, I know Man United are still a rich club, but they've wrecked that club. And there's so many other sports washing going on that, you know, let's be real here. The big six club together and said to the Premier League, you can't allow this. You know, we're going to all of a sudden be, we're great white sharks, and you're about to let a megalodon into this thing. You know what I mean? We would have changed football, and it probably would have been terrible for everyone else. But obviously, there would have been a part of me that thought, yeah, we deserve this right now. It's been shite. But I'm not even asking for that. I'm just asking for Newcastle to have a decent owner who puts a bit of money in, and every season you think, we might do something this year, because I haven't felt that way in 15 years. You know, like, I never think we will win a cup or we will have a good league run. It's survival. And, you know, people say, oh, well, you expect too much. It's like, well, no, Newcastle, the size club we are and the history we have, top half of the table and a good cup run isn't a big ask.
Do you fantasize about getting a gang together and buying the club?
Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? But, you know, I'm not really the guy. I don't think I'm the right man to run a football club. But who is?
No.
This is the thing. That's why the Premier League have a supposed director's test that all of a sudden meant something when we wanted to get bought out, but didn't mean anything when, other Saudi people bought clubs as well. So,
Oh, you've got a Geordie persecution complex. I see Gareth's warming up for a question.
Well, a few questions. Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated by the takeover that didn't happen in the end and how long that went on for. And it reminds me of
going on now, by the way. There's a court date today between the Premier League and Newcastle.
It's ongoing. Wow, amazing. It reminds me a lot of, there's a documentary that Russell and I are both watching at the moment. You might have seen it, The Fever Pitch, the Premier League years. It's on BBC iPlayer.
Good.
It's very good. And when Blackburn, Jack Walker put all that money into Blackburn, there was a lot of pushback at the time from the bigger clubs as well. Like there's a few interviews in that documentary of people just didn't like it. Those big clubs did not like the fact that someone came in, put a lot of money into it. It wasn't one of the big four or big six. And they got quite a lot of pushback. Obviously, they couldn't do anything about that. But now the Premier League are involved. So, I mean, is that collusion, conspiracy? What do you want to call it? I mean, how bad is that? And how, from your knowledge, how has there been any kind of wrongdoing and dodgy stuff going on?
Well, I mean, all you need to do is look at the Euro. I mean, there's definitely been some dodgy stuff going on because of the BN Sports connection. Qatar and Saudi Arabia, as I've had to learn through this ridiculousness, have a big rivalry and there's a lot going on there. And there's leverage for BN Sports to basically say, well, if you let them in, we're then going to have to basically have a Saudi Arabian title holder, potentially, being broadcasting Qatar. Like, we can't be having that. We're paying you far too much money or whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of that went on. But if you look at the European Super League, that showed you the level of corruption that is in football these days, where all of these teams were ready to just fuck off, do their own thing, and you're sitting, you're like, all right, see you later then. You know what I mean? Like, and guess what? They got pulled back by their own fans, but were they punished? Where's the points deductions? Where's the transfer bans? None of it happened. Why? Because they've got too much power, which means they've got sway enough with the Premier League to escape punishment. Does that mean they've also got enough sway to get them to do other things? I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, there's been a lot of comments online about Derby at the moment being the latest Championship team to have had a points deduction for financial irregularities, and a lot of questions asked of, so Derby get 12 points deducted, but 6 breakaway teams that want to form a Super League get nothing. They're sitting, pretty at the top of the Premier League. And that's completely understandable. And it really plays to this idea of the 6 in the Premier League are out there on their own. The Premier League is completely detached from all the other leagues below it. And, you've got to wonder about where is that gulf going. And I suppose when you look at a team like Newcastle, where again in this documentary it's very much focusing on that point when Newcastle were under Keegan, where you had those kind of glory years, and it was wonderful to see. Obviously there's the kind of famous Keegan quote and some of the wonderful football and wonderful players you had at that time. Obviously the club has changed completely, the ownership, the kind of atmosphere around it. What's been your relationship with the club? You spoke about your relationship with the fans. Has there been a lot of pushback from the club with your kind of content that you're putting out?
Well, initially, I did a few videos saying Mike Ashley is a see you next Tuesday type of videos, So there was this thing that we were shooting with another company where I had to basically go in St. James's, and I was told, the company was told, nah, he's not allowed in. They're aware. We're not, our social media for a long time hasn't been on the level of what other teams are able to do, because Mike Ashley obviously isn't going to spend any more money than he has to, even on, that. But when you think about it, like, we haven't got a huge amount of football creators or whatever up here. So I could have been a big help to them if they just brought me in or whatever. But that's not the way they operate. So crack on.
Hey, Brian, do you reckon like things like the fan movement that came up as a result of the European Super League idea, like the occupation of Old Trafford, suggests that there's potential to harness the passion of football fans for wider political movements? Typically, sort of across Europe, that has sort of associations with right-wing politics. But like, this is what I'm thinking. Imagine if a political party said, like, if you elect us, what we're going to do is we're just taking back all them football clubs. They'll be community owned and community run. Like, and all you have to do is sort of register to be a fan, and you can, we find some sort of social enterprise way of taking back fan ownership. You just would pass a law to do it, and there'd be loads of kickbacks. Like, hold on a minute, we're international conglomerates. You just go, yes, the law in our country, we're taking them all back. Like, can you imagine? Like, do you think that would create sort of like real popular passion and would harness the political energy that's sort of around football, but somewhat nullified by the fact that it's ultimately a corporate and commercial enterprises that harnesses sort of passionate tribal feelings and connection and unity and all those great resources?
I thought it was a bit of a shame at the time when we seen that, all of that passion, and everyone stood outside and doing that, because there are real causes that should be evoking the same outrage, and people don't care, and I love football, as you say. Football is nice, but there are some more important things in the world, and when you see
the NHS
how
is
we
nice.
How we react to truly important things, and then you see the way people went on over that, it's like, well, I'm not saying people shouldn't be, care about their club. I'm just saying it kind of blew my mind, like the level of outrage when compared to, anything Boris Johnson does, for example. But, without getting too political, but we shouldn't have to sort of motivate people to give a fuck about the issues that matter by trying to trick them into thinking it would be good for their football team. But unfortunately, that might be the only way, Russell. So I'll back you. Go for it.
Back my crazy schemes to place football clubs back in the hands of the fans that built those clubs, and just see what the knock-on effects of that are.
Well, when you talk about the 90s, that's what it felt like. It felt like a community. Like, we had a Newcastle-born chairman. We had a former Newcastle footballer as manager. Alan Shearer was captain. Like, there was plenty of players from the region in the squad. It felt like it was. I felt connected to the players, the team, and the whole club. Now, I couldn't feel more disconnected, and I think football fans everywhere feel that as well. It's not just Newcastle fans. We all feel like footballers are now more like celebrities, and the clubs don't represent the area. They represent the owner.
They represent the financial interests of the owner. Why won't Newcastle fans be nice to Steve Bruce?
Yeah, I was going to get onto that as well, Steve Bruce. It feels like
Bruce, so sweet.
From an outside. I mean, I'm a Hull fan, so I think Steve Bruce is great, and I understand a lot of.
Why is he not with you anymore?
Well, he resigned because we've got awful owners, a bit like you. In fact, they're probably on a par.
I thought he resigned because he was about to get sacked and relegated, which is what happened afterwards. Am I right?
No. Well, no. What happened is he got us back up, and then he resigned before the season started in the Premier League because he wasn't back. He wasn't backed by the owners, and at that point, I think we had 12 first-team players in our squad. In fact, they took a team photo during the summer, and I think there were only 9 senior pros in that team photo, it went kind of viral.
That's not enough for a team.
No, it's not enough, Ross. You're right.
You need 2 more lads.
So I mean, we're on a different scale to Newcastle. I don't think any.
Why don't you like him?
I don't think.
He's avoiding the question.
I know. Yeah, I don't think any.
He's so sweet. He wrote those books. Sorry, go.
No, don't worry, mate. Yeah, I don't think any Hull fan will mind me saying that we're on a different level to Newcastle in terms of our size and our history. But for us, Steve Bruce almost felt like, for us, we look back fondly at the times he got us up and kept us up. And although there was a lot of complaints at the time of the kind of negative football that Steve Bruce plays, and I know that's the perception about him at Newcastle, but isn't there another side to that of Steve Bruce just doesn't get backed and he is on a hide into nothing? What can the guy do with what he's got other than Sam Maximan, who seems to be an incredible player?
Got too many things wrapped around him. Things around his wrists. Maximan, Why do you like Rafa for? Rosy cheeks? What do people have to have? If Steve Bruce had rosy cheeks, would you like him then?
I like the question. So there's a lot of answers, if I'm honest with you. In terms of liking him as a person, he seems like a very nice person, you know? And I think if he wasn't under pressure the way he is, I think and we met and had a cup of tea, I'm sure he'd be a perfectly nice guy. But pressure makes people do things that otherwise they wouldn't. And when Steve Bruce has been under pressure, he's not acted the way a leader of people should act. He blames anything but himself. And generally speaking, if you look at the results and the way they are trending right now, I've seen a stat the other day, and I'll roughly try and quote it, but basically, if you look at the managers in the Premier League who've had over 200 Premier League games, or 300 it may be, he's like bottom 2 in terms of win percentage. And there's a good reason for that. It's because Steve Bruce is not a Premier League manager. And he's had many chances, and it always results in the same thing, which is an inevitable relegation, in my opinion. In the Championship, maybe he's suited there. But if you look at the fans in Newcastle, of course we want him to do well. Of course, he's a Geordie and all of that. And, you know, but after a while, when someone keeps patronising you in interviews, it becomes more and more difficult. And I have to say honestly, lads, this is the truth. In the 2 years we have of Rafa Benitez versus the 2 years of Steve Bruce, when you're watching a manager's interview, you're looking for something to make you think, this is what the players are getting, this is a leader, this is a guy I can trust, and you're looking for snippets of information, of real football knowledge. And I have to say, with Rafa, it was almost like every single interview, he was dropping good points, you were seeing the logic. With Steve Bruce, in those 2 years, I have not seen one 10-second piece of interview that has been anything more than a bloke down the pub could say. The amount of times he bemoans luck, the amount of times he has no clear path of how to play football. And the way he talks in those interviews, it's just awful. Like, he comes across as the dumbest football manager I've ever listened to in my entire life. And at a point where you've taken over a job that you know you're not going to get back in, and he did that because he's not a Premier League manager, and this is his one chance to get that job with a chairman who basically will let him get on with it. He knew what he was taking on. So I'm not going to feel sorry for a man getting paid millions just because he's soft-spoken and looks like the old lady out of Home Alone. We've got to expect more from a leader of men. And when you look at the amount of things coming out of the dressing room and the things that the players are saying, they don't rate him and they don't want to play for him. And my overall point is, yes, he's got the survival, but the players we have in Callum Wilson, in Joe Willock, in St. Maximin, in some of the midfielders, and even the defence is just deteriorating rapidly, yet we've got the same defenders Rafa Benitez managed to get so many clean sheets out of. If you remember when David Moyes left Everton, Roberto Martinez took over. And the first season afterwards, he had a great season. But the longer Roberto Martinez didn't have that defensive structural organisation that was left from David Moyes, the more it fell apart. And that's exactly what we're seeing under Steve Bruce. The longer we haven't got Rafa, the worse the defending is getting, the worse the organisation is getting. And ultimately, there's no plan. It's just boot it up and hope for a bit of individual skill. Brucey ball, it's terrible.
Do you know what? One of the themes that's being cultivated on our podcast is that really the psychic space that a manager operates in your mind, the space that they occupy, is paternal. They are a father. Like, the thing that moved me most, what you said there, was when you're watching an interview, because that's what we all do, innit? You watch the interview and you think, no, I'd follow that guy. They understand leadership. They're passionate. There's this sort of a magic in any leader, really, because, and like the most obvious example is the sort of Ferguson era United, that he breathed Manchester United into being. Of course, there are loads of things sort of technical and esoteric and things that will be difficult to understand, but the fact that when he leaves it doesn't exist anymore shows you that someone has a mystique, a power that they can engender into a team. They can breathe some sort of power into it.
There's none of that with Bruce. When you watch an interview and he goes, well, I had the other day, he said, I'm quoting him almost verbatim here. He goes, well, we had a good hour against Man United and there was 20 minutes against Leeds where I thought we played well. So, that's the standards we've got to hope to keep up. We drew one of those games. We lost the other one 4-1. And he's saying that's the standards that we've got to keep up, right? And then he goes, that's the Premier League, though. It's like, we know we're in the Premier League, Bruce. He says so many, Bruceisms, and it's the same thing every week. You're just thinking, how can anyone find this guy? I mean, I'll manage, I think we've got 15 people in the studio when we do a live show. If you come up with that, even in if you're a manager of a building site and you speak like that, you're not going to get respect, let alone at the top level with these athletes who are worth millions. It's just silly.
Yeah, that's a really good point, isn't it? He's got a gal. How you feeling about that softly spoken, nan-faced Bruce now?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got different sets of criteria, and look, I won't pretend that there weren't frustrations with Bruce at the time when he was at Hull. Certainly when we were in the Premier League, but even when we were in the Championship, and obviously I look back fondly because of achievements, but also, yeah, I'd be lying if it wasn't a little bit to do with his nan face. So look, I feel you. I think that, I guess my question would be, who are Newcastle able to get as a manager? And I know that's unfair because obviously you're a massive team and you've got an amazing history and you should be able to have a Rafa Benitez, but I guess you can't at the moment.
No, I mean, obviously we had him and Mike Ashley drove him away basically, and now he's doing interviews saying how refreshing it is to have an owner who backs him at Everton, which I did appreciate. Look, while Mike Ashley's at the club, we are just sitting and waiting. We're a club. We're on hold. When you lose your bank card, that's where Newcastle fans are right now. That's what football feels like for us. We're on hold. No one's answering. And then we keep getting cut off just as we think we're getting through.
Oh, that's a painful thing. All right, mate. Well, Brian, thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us some of your time. Thanks for being so warm and inspiring and passionate. And there was one bit there where you properly went into yourself and were really moving through emotions around Steve Bruce. And I could see there the essence of your success. And congratulations on everything you've achieved. I'm very much looking forward to coming on some of your shows, particularly seeing all them 15 people and everything. Sounds like a very powerful setup.
It is actually. And I would absolutely love to have you on the podcast, Russell. I've been a fan of yours for years, way back when, the hair was going high and so were you. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
I can't wait to meet you, mate.
I can't wait to meet you, Neil. Bless you. Thanks for coming on, mate. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Brian.
See ya.
Cheers, mate.
Bye, mate. Bye. Oh, he's a nice, warm, lovely, passionate man.
Big fan of yours.
That's one of the things I like about people.
Yeah.
Better compliment.
I thought they were good quality
Big compliments. Do you think one day he might give me one? Be nice. I'd like one at some stage, just from anyone.
You'll get one soon. I can tell it's coming. I can feel a compliments coming
Surely.
your way.
It's got to, hasn't it?
I think you're great.
I write notes and stuff, ask questions.
I like you. You've got your questions are good
That's all I
that
need.
you ask.
That's fine.
They're quite long.
Yeah, I know. The one about...
You've learned that from me, the long question.
It's really weird. As I was saying that long question, I was having another little argument in my head with other mates going...
What were they wanting?
Well, they were saying, this is long and rambling, and is the question related to the bit you said at the start?
Yeah.
And then the other voice said, well, this is what Russell does.
This is what Russell does.
And so it said, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the technique. I often don't know what the hell it is I'm on about.
Yeah. And then at the end, as long as you ask a question at the end,
sooner or later,
it actually sounds a little bit impressive.
When you have really good guests on Under the Skin, say, they don't even need it to be a question. Like someone like Ian McGilchrist, who wrote The Master is a Mystery, a sort of a psychological and neurological study of the relationship between the left and right hemisphere. You just make an announcement.
Yeah.
And then he'll just respond to your latest announcement.
Yeah, we could have done that with him, and I could have just said, Steve Bruce, go. And he would have gone off on that rant.
That's right. Sometimes on TalkSport, I can imagine Andy Goldstein doing that.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce, go.
Yeah.
Right, and I think, well, I'm enjoying this. This is a fast-paced thing.
Maybe we'll do one episode where it's just that. That's our approach to everything.
Yeah, it's quite good. I like to. Who's that woman? She won an Oscar. That woman, the Nan from Home Alone. She was from Casualty and all, wasn't she? Do you remember? I think she won Oscar for My Left Foot. She was the mum in My Left Foot.
That's right.
And she was in Casualty.
Yeah, I actually researched
She's
her
one of
the
your
other day.
mob, Django. She's an Irish woman. Don't you memorise the name of the Irish?
No, I left.
She
Stop criticising Ireland.
she was. I was talking about her with a friend the other day.
Why? Why'd she come up?
Because he watched My Left Foot and he said it's.
Don't be childish. You're thinking like your literal left foot.
Yeah.
Is that the foot you injured on that bike accident?
It is actually, yeah.
See?
Well, he's had to look at that as well recently. But no, he watched the film with Daniel Day-Lewis, and then he said, that woman from Casualty's in it, and I'm pretty sure she won an Oscar. And then I think we found out, I don't know, I think she won it. Yeah, supporting actress or something.
I feel like I've got a memory of her at a podium.
Yeah. She either won it or was definitely nominated for an Oscar.
You don't get to the podium for that, mate.
She won
Unless
it then.
she won another one, like BAFTA, or like some of them other ones.
Let's say she won it. She was, yeah. Anyway, and I thought it was Duffy out of Casualty, and it wasn't her. But then it turns out...
She's managing Newcastle.
Fans hate her.
It's a shame, because in My Left Foot she was so good. The tragedy about what's happening at St James's Park is that when the manager was in Casualty, he was adored.
Anyway, she was in Casualty before My Left Foot and after.
She's done that and goes back to
Casualty. It's like Casualty was her main thing, and in the middle was like
Do My Left
Oscars
Foot
and
now.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Back to Casualty. That's enough of that. It's like that was adultery.
Yeah.
Like she was Casualty's her husband, and then she has it off with My Left Foot.
Yeah.
Like just for a while, spice things up. She doesn't feel appreciated at Casualty. Casualty no longer gives her compliments. By the way, how about some compliments for you? You're handsome. You're a great producer.
Thanks, mate.
You're very funny. You're warm, you're vivacious, you've got a bright future ahead of you. You're dealing very well with your mental health issues, I think.
Hang on a minute.
Is that backhanded? Is that a Ben Foster?
That was a Ben Foster.
Don't you Ben Foster me, I'll Ben Foster you. I love Ben Foster.
Oh, he's brilliant. I was pleased for him the other day because I was paying extra attention
'Cause
to
you
the
know him
starting
now.
lineup. I thought, I hope Ben Foster's playing. And then saw the highlights and he made some good saves. And I thought a little bit, I think that's because of us.
Yeah.
A little bit. I
Yeah,
thought
we
maybe
boosted him.
Yeah. Also, David Seaman liked a tweet of ours.
Yes!
Actual David Seaman.
And then when I was watching that documentary about the early years of the Prem, and it like showed like Arsenal, like, you know, beating United, or I can't remember.
Seaman was celebrating, wasn't he?
I was like, here he is!
There he is.
Imagining that line from the middle of his chest.
Yeah.
He'll have stopped doing that now for the celebration. Right, I'll imagine this celebration from the middle of my chest. I'll celebrate up to the fans. Right, and celebrate right back again. It's not really that good of an impression.
Are we going back to your breakdown?
Russell's mental breakdown.
There's a jingle.
This is Russell's football breakdown.
This is Russell's breakdown.
Russell's breakdown.
I like your breakdowns.
Arsenal versus Spurs.
Yep.
I do not like the announcer at the Emirates. It's too American.
Right.
A goal for
Yeah.
Smith Rowe.
Right.
It's not the right way. At West Ham, the announcer, I used to know him, and he used to sort of like he was like just a bloke off local radio sort of vibe. That's what I feel like was good. Commentators are saying too many things about goalie's hands stinging and getting hot. Oh, that one, he's warmed his hands with that one. Oh, that would have stung his hands. That's two games.
You don't like that?
Don't say that about their hands, especially not when they've got those big, stupid Mickey Mouse gloves on that they wear now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how they can have a relationship with their hands with those gloves on.
You don't think it does sting them?
It can't. And what it must be like is when, if say you're at the Wuhan lab or something.
No, it's always back to the Wuhan lab, isn't
Back
it?
to the Wuhan lab, guys, and you have to put your hands in those gloves that are in a wall.
Oh, yeah.
Wall gloves, you know? And it's a glass wall, window glass. And you put your hands in the gloves, and the gloves are sort of hanging in like cow udders in the room. And like you sort of Why can't like you put your hands in there? They're wearing gloves like that. If you ask me, there's no way that stinks. But somehow, obviously, the germs got out of that lab because otherwise we'd be okay where we wanted, live as we please.
He's very good at translating big ideas, and this time it's the Wuhan lab leak theory.
Theory. That's not been
Using a football metaphor.
Commentate something about right. Arteta is saved an emotional goal. Oh, you look really in his interview. He looked so emotional, didn't he?
He did. Did you see him jumping up and down?
Yeah.
There was that one amazing shot where you saw the Arsenal crowd celebrating and then him mid-air. But he looked so happy and excited. And a bit of me thought, well, actually, I did say it to the telly. I said, don't get carried away, Arteta.
You said that to the telly?
Yeah,
did
it
you?
annoyed me a bit that he kind of thought, we're great now. You know, all they've done is won 3 not that difficult games. And, you know... I'm not sure this whole thing of like, that's why I like the Tony Adams approach of like, well, let's just enjoy it for the moment. We've won today.
Is Tony still managing a team?
I don't think so.
Because he's so relaxed. He was wearing those sort of socks that were that colour. I can't wait to get him on.
I like his vibe. But yeah, I'm not convinced by Arsenal. I don't think beating Spurs in their current form under their current manager is a good indication of whether you're a good club. Not that I'm not excited about Saka and Smith Rowe. I think they're fantastic, but there's a long way to go for Arsenal.
Nuno going to get sacked now?
Well, look, that's a lot of the talk was about the end of the Nuno era already. I think that would be madness, but it does seem that things are not right.
People are saying he was a defensive coach at Wolves. It's a continuation of Mourinho, and what people are hung over from the Pochettino era that Levy should have stuck with Pochettino like through that sort of and allowed him to rebuild the team. And now they're saying, oh, it's not a masterstroke keeping hold of Kane. It's a mistake. Like they should have let Kane go, have that money, rebuild.
I think they should have done. There's something definitely not right with him. He's obviously not enjoying it. Whether it's the manager or just missing out on that move, he's not happy. It's not working. He's not scoring. He's not, he's not getting shots on goal even. So something is not right. Something's got to change. It must be a strange time to support Spurs. I noticed Gary Neville was saying that the players played for Pochettino and loved Pochettino, loved that manager. When you're talking about father figures, like that set of players, the Kanes and the Dele Allis, they absolutely loved Pochettino, and that it's almost like nothing can compare. Mourinho's maybe warmth has gone from some of his kind of earlier years, and Nuno is defensive, counter-attacking type manager, but it's interesting, isn't it, when football can come down to that, the relationship between that manager and those players, and if they're still basically missing Pochettino, like he's an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife or ex-husband or some other
an ex of some description,
and exactly.
They miss him.
But it's strange, isn't it, that can think of all the billions that is involved in football, and it can come down to a relationship.
Comes down to love. In the end, it comes down to love. One day we'll see something in the sky, some meteorite or something, and we'll think, oh, love. In the end, what you're going to think, it don't matter, does it? All of the artificial cultural structures are all an expression of some deeper thing. When the seagulls follow gentle
when
like
the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea.
What I suppose he means is that the press are there because they want a tidbit.
That's well summed up. Just to stick on Pochettino before you jump on, watching the Paris Saint-Germain game last night, where they beat Man City. They were goodish. They weren't better than Man City, in my opinion. They took their chances. Man City, they hit the bar twice. But even in that, you see Pochettino on the bench, and something about it doesn't feel right. I don't feel
he's happy there.
No, look, he's doing.
But Tuchel was at PSG. Maybe PSG is weird to be there. They're too rich.
It certainly is. I mean, those players are ludicrously rich, and it's.
How can you manage such rich people?
That's what I mean. There's almost something about it where I see him there, and I think.
Imagine if you had Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson. They had to all play up front together. Yeah. Like, right, come on, Branson. I want to see you track back. Bezos, for God's sake, lady should have squared that. What are you shooting for, Bezos? Right? They're going to go, well, actually, I'm so rich, I don't need to do anything. Is it
you say?
Yeah.
So I'm watching Pochettino kind of thinking, I wonder if there's a bit of him that thinks, I still love those lads at Spurs.
I miss them lads of mine.
Them lads.
Yeah, I reckon he misses them lads. Yeah. Here's some more of my mental Leeds.
It's a football breakdown.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I get confused. Bielsa, he ain't seem to have his bucket, but he's miming that it is there.
He is.
Just crouching down.
He sometimes does that. I wonder when does he choose to have the bucket?
Sometimes bucket, sometimes crouch.
Yeah.
That's what he goes for. He's
Yeah.
got good hips and knees for a man of his years.
I literally thought that myself. I thought I couldn't do that for a couple of minutes. He does it for 90 minutes sometimes.
I sprained my ankle the other day, and it's taken a lot of my ability to crouch down. I had to actually put a yoga brick under my bum in order to do this breath exercise that I do that helps me to reach these transcendent realms where the ego goes offline and all you are is your awareness and senses, and you realise, hang on a minute, I've created this inner construct of an identity.
You need a meditation bucket is what you need.
I need a meditation bucket so I can crouch down, and I want a little translator. I want that translator geezer that he's got. So what Russell's sort of saying is that he believes that there's this sort of coexistent self that's memories and projections.
That would be handy.
Bielsa must know now, just from listening to his own translator, he must have picked up a bit of English.
Surely.
We can do it.
He's playing us for a fool, isn't he, Bielsa? I wonder if if someone out there knows whether Leeds win more when Bielsa's got a bucket than when he hasn't. Is it down to the bucket?
Please send us send us some compliments for Gareth. Gareth compliments. A compliment for Gareth. I reckon we should do this on social media. Picture of Gareth, right? And then we go.
Don't reduce it to looks.
It's not looks.
Not that I'm suggesting I've got good looks, but it's
got lovely
the first
looks.
thing you always say.
But then what I want to say is I want it to be like an image, like say as if it was like some little kid that had gone lost, or it was like somewhere where there's starving or there's some terrible incident. It's compliments for Gareth, as if we were like something really legit in the Yemen, like a charity.
That's right.
Compliments.
I am.
Yes,
That's fine.
Yes, but you paying compliments is only what you pay.
That's all.
So compliments.
There's no
for
direct
Gareth.
debit.
No, we put up all the numbers. This if you want to leave a direct debit, and then just put a compliment and ring your bank and just say, I'll tell Gareth that I think many of his puns are good, or the way he does those links are good. He does great work coming up with really controversial ideas to make it seem like we're right-leaning on YouTube.
Tell him every month on the first of the month or something.
Compliment, a direct compliment to Gareth. Here's some more of my breakdown. Jonathan Pearce, the commentator's views are too strong on having someone on the near post at set pieces. You've got to have someone on the near post.
Oh, he did. He was furious about that, wasn't he?
You're saying it as if
in the modern game with all these tactics, and you haven't got someone on the near post.
It's as if you'd said, I was going to let my kids die. It's just Dr. Pepper. That's all I'm going to feed them, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper and fags, Rothmans. No, they need 5 a day. You've got to have someone on the near post. Jonathan, they've obviously thought about whether or not to have someone on the near post. On this occasion,
they've decided against it.
It was an error. But it's not like they've decided, I don't know, to rip the badge off or something. It's a minor problem.
He got really touchy about that.
Dean Smith's assistant at Villa. This is
looks like a rock star.
Yeah,
looks like the Foo Fighters.
I mean, he's amazing, isn't he?
I know.
Who is he? And then when he was sort of celebrating, I was thinking, God. I mean, is he Dean Smith's sort of shadow entity?
Yes,
where
I think
Dean
he
Smith's
is.
so sort of normal, conventional looking.
Yeah.
And so he has with him this sort of rock god guy who may as well have been wearing sort of snakeskin boots and had his willy out. It was like Jim Morrison.
It really was. I thought he looked like the drummer out of the Foo Fighters, whose name is Chad or something, and he's very nice.
So Dave Grohl went, I'm not going to be drumming no more.
I'm
moving
front
further
man.
forward.
And he's going to be the drummer and also assistant manage Aston Villa.
Hey, I don't want to be a drummer. Why can't I have a trajectory like you, Dave, where I progress? Well, you can, but for you, it's an unusual route. You're also going to assistant manage Aston Villa. Well, I've got no experience. Doesn't matter. Dean Smith's making all the key decisions. What we want you to do is just add a bit of a vibe at Villa Park. Well, I can do that, I suppose.
Which he did.
Yeah, well, that's why the Foo Fighters system of ascendancy
It works.
is
It yields results.
It yields true results because it's working for Villa. It's working for the Foo Fighters.
It really is.
Everyone's
Loads
a
of
winner.
#1 albums. No, I noticed that as well, and we've commented a few times on Dean Smith's kind of office attire. I think I would say he's the most boring looking manager in the league in terms of his attire, not his face.
We're not
or anything
attacking
else.
him, and we respect him.
Brilliant
and we love
manager,
him.
lovely man. But it does seem like he's selected an assistant manager to represent maybe part of his soul or something.
Yeah, like that. I'm just going to dress like this, but that's why we were happy to collaborate with the Foo Fighters on their rhythm section promotion scheme that they've been running since even when Dave Grohl was in Nirvana.
Speaking about the Man United game, and obviously the West Ham game as well, there was a bit of poetry, wasn't there? Last week we were talking about football writing its own narratives.
Mm-hmm.
This week it was West Ham getting the last-minute winner.
Yeah, thank God.
And Man United losing in towards the end of the game, right towards the end, and missing that penalty.
And Martinez, he got into Fernandez's head.
He did, yeah. I was.
What was the route into his head?
Well, I was listening to
Martinez, the goalkeeper of Villa.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast last night about this, and they were saying that Martinez has a bit of history doing this. Apparently, in the Copa America, which Argentina won, he did that a lot against another team.
Once a penalty's awarded, he comes out.
Yeah, it seems like
up to the spot, gets in your head.
That's right. He gets in players' heads, and he was well known for this. And a lot of teams in that tournament didn't appreciate it. He got a bit of a name for kind of taunting and winding up and mind games. And the interesting thing with this one was that it wasn't directed at Fernandes. Is that he went over? It's like what he understood was, where is the power in this situation, and where's the power that I need to attack? And the power is Ronaldo, because it's not the person who's taking the penalty, but where is the pressure within that team being applied? And a lot of theories, since that game, is that actually Bruno Fernandes, as much as he has been incredible, I mean, the best player at United certainly the last 18 months.
Transformed United, really.
Absolutely transformed. You could say he's been the only good thing, solidly, consistently good thing about Man United.
But what did Martinez understand, and what did he do, Gal?
What Martinez did is go up to Ronaldo and say, you take the penalty, you take the penalty, you should take the penalty. Because there is
That is a good mind game.
It's a good mind game, because the theory is Ronaldo wants to
take the penalties. That's 8 goals a season, 10 goals a season. Ronaldo lives for power, for glory. He don't want to sit watching his teammate. Fernandes don't even start for Portugal sometimes.
Yep.
He's not going to stand for having the penalties took by Fernandes, even though Fernandes' record statistically is better, 94% against the 85% of Ronaldo. But of course, Ronaldo's taken many more penalties. So Martinez comes over and mind gamed him right in the mind. Sometimes I'm astonished by people's confidence.
It was incredible, because it was like a positive mind game, because he was going over and suggesting to Ronaldo, you take it, go on, you take it, you take it. And then Ronaldo obviously didn't take it. Bruno, with the knowledge of that incident, somewhere in his brain,
I can't keep taking these penalties. Ronaldo should be taking them.
Well, he's probably thinking, if I miss this, Ronaldo's going to be on penalty duty. I'm losing 8 to 10 goals a season. Because earlier in the game, I think it was Fernandes took the first free kick, which wasn't successful, and Ronaldo was put on the second one. So in his mind, there's already planted that idea of, if I miss this, Ronaldo's going to take it. And
I wouldn't like that.
No, well, he didn't.
Because you know what, mate? It's not very... see how Brian, True Geordie, I like you, near the beginning of the podcast, it relaxes me, right? So say if I...
I might start all our podcasts just saying, Russell, I think you're brilliant.
Please do. Like you do when you're directing me for the other videos, you just make me feel encouraged. Now, say if we had to do this podcast and there was 2 other people that were better than podcasts than us, just waiting, sat behind our chairs like that. They was earning more money than us, and they're better than us.
Yeah, that would be £1 if that was all it would need to be. 50p.
Because we don't earn anything from this. This is economically unsustainable. But we would feel pressured by their looming presence. So poor Bruno Fernandes, he just feels all the time like imagine when he's making love that Ronaldo's just stood there like nah. like the whole of his life.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's just there
taking his shirt off.
Look at my body.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look how gorgeous
I
it
reckon
is.
he's got a bit of hair on his body, Bruno Fernandes.
He's also on the slender side for an athlete in general. He's a more slender man.
I mean, it must be intimidating for... I suppose that's the line, isn't it, with Man United players? You've got the youngsters who will just idolise, worship and look up to Ronaldo. So in that sense, you go, it's a positive. But maybe Fernandes is the player that's potentially going to be negatively affected by Ronaldo.
Because he's a potential alpha figure.
Yeah.
But he's not... No one out-alphas Ronaldo.
Yep.
Oh... But I'll tell you, do you think Martinez will be a good manager based on his mind game skills?
I have no idea. I think you mentioned last week how often do you see football goalkeepers, as managers. Not often. Nuno at Wolves, but it's not often. I don't know why that is. Well, we could have asked Dave Seaman, but maybe we will another time. Or Ben Foster.
Or we have nothing but goalkeepers, and our whole inner life is just full of intrigue about stuff about goalkeepers that we nary dare ask them. A few more observations. Well, it's one. Greenwood should have laid off a couple of times. The Cortinas were playing at Old Trafford Cricket Ground, and that affected the kickoff time. Yeah. Why?
Well, I guess what it is, because it was the Old Trafford. It was because
it wasn't Old Trafford Football Ground.
No, Cricket Ground. But so I guess you can't have that many fans either leaving or going to a game.
How many people are going to a Cortinas concert?
Well, a fair amount, I imagine.
I was astonished.
I was.
I'm not against the Cortinas. Morrissey liked them. That's what I remember. But I didn't think that they were playing cricket grounds.
No, I mean we're into
and it was mentioned all over Match Today. Oh, the Cortinas and Gary Lineker, the Cortinas. Yeah. People were obsessed.
Yeah, they were.
It's like Beatlemania.
Yeah, it was great advertising for the Cortinas.
Now we had caught up in the Cortina mania, and they did that joke, didn't they? Of course.
Yeah.
Hey, see, mate, didn't you we asked people on the internet whether or not what about their mind games?
Yeah, no.
Did people not have any mind games? Too hard a question.
It's a difficult question because first of all, it wasn't football related. I think we need to make sure they're football related.
Fair enough.
Because also it's more fun that way, isn't it? But we've got, what have we got? We've got reviews.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, mate.
Go on.
I looked into, after last week, Russell's eating a sausage now.
Sorry about that.
He's on to his second breakfast. So, last week you were talking about it's not fair that players get booked for taking their shirt off.
No, they shouldn't.
So I looked into it. Obviously, I did. Let me read you off from a website called Backpost, which I will read from now. So this guy off Backpost says, on FIFA's official website, it states this. The IFAB, the body responsible for the laws of the game, decided to add a detail to Law 12 relating to fouls and misconduct, stating, a player who removes his jersey after scoring a goal will be cautioned for unsporting behaviour. So it's under the category of unsporting behaviour. They explain their amendment in a little more detail further down the page, and this is the bit I think you'll like, Ross. So it goes on to say, under this section, additional instructions for referees and assistant referees, the laws clearly state removing one's shirt after scoring is unnecessary and players should avoid such excessive displays of joy.
Bloody hell.
That's written in the rules.
You can't excessively display joy.
Joy. Yeah.
I don't think you should legislate against joy.
I don't think you should.
It's not hurting anybody.
No.
Except the other team.
Well, maybe not.
I think it's puritanical. It's very primal. I think they're trying to rationalise it, but it's primal. It's like, what is the energy that's running under football? Jordan Peterson says it's hunting. It's like a hunting game. It's like that's what it's replicating, the idea of a hunt. I mean, of course, all sports are kind of war or battle. The removal of the top, I suppose it's triumph, isn't it? It's such a weird... I mean, I suppose... Do you think that they're trying to nip it in the bud in case it's like shirt off, then trousers down, and then where do you go from there? Like it's priapic. I once heard a sailorman one time said to me that once his boat was under threat from what he believed to be pirates... This sailorman said...
Is this in your mind?
I'm afraid to say... All right, I'll give you more detail because I can see you think that all these things happen in my mind. And to a degree, you're right. It did all happen in my mind in so much as it didn't happen on a table. It all was received by the senses, constructed in my consciousness.
Point. You got me there, Brand.
But there were... I attest to the veracity of these external stimulants. I don't think I wasn't asleep when this happened, all right? So I was awake in the world, the Earth. I was on a film set. There was a photographer. The photographer lived on a boat. He said to me, one time, pirates come to the boat. They might not have been pirates, but nonetheless, what they were doing was being intimidating. He was there with his girlfriend. He said, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to use sort of Latin and medical words so that it's not wrong. So he said these pirates were about to come aboard his boat. So he said that what he did is he took off all of his clothes and roused himself to a point of priapism. That is where the member is gorged with blood, the spongy tissue. So, and then he says he ran up, I think, with a machete and the engorged instrument appendage, and went rah at the pirates, and they turned around. Now I said, well done, being able to maintain that state during a potential pirate attack. And then I was intrigued as to why. I go, do you think that was necessary? If you'd been nude without that addition, do you think it would have worked? He says it wouldn't have done.
What I don't understand is, what were the pirates doing in the time where he had to get himself to that state? Like, did he put his hand out as if to say, wait 30 seconds, because I'm about to do something
Let
here?
me just imagine my girlfriend's mum. 1 sec. Here we go. No, I don't like. I'm not even sure. He may be the girlfriend was also present, and she may be assisted, possibly. But what I think it was is that the pirates were on the horizon.
Yeah, in the distance.
He sees them coming.
And then he says, love, I can see some pirates on the distance.
Like Captain Phillips.
And she said...
So in Captain Phillips, you could see the pirates are coming now.
Yeah.
Captain Phillips, of course, he set off a series of alarms. It's Tom Hanks. He's not going to take his trousers and pants down, get a machete, get himself into a state of arousal and say, take it. Pirates, if you want it, here it is.
He might have won the Oscar if he'd done that.
Yeah. Bravo! Right, if Francis McDormand can have one for pooping in a bucket, I'll give Tom Hanks one for getting off to a pirate. So, the reason I mention all this stuff, Gareth, is because perhaps...
Yeah, why do you mention this stuff?
I'll tell you, my man, I'll tell you. It's because perhaps the taking off of the top is a sort of it's display, it's peacocking, and perhaps the governing body, who we just heard there, FJ or iPad or Flip-Flop, whoever they were called, think, hang on a minute, one day Mo Salah's peeling his top off to celebrate his 100th top-flight goal.
The next
day, it's for Bobby Firmino.
Where does it lead?
He's stiff as a board. He's wading into the cop.
He said cop.
And the nipple tassels on. Like, I dare you to defy me. Like that. So what do you think about all of those things?
Yeah, so they were nipping it in the bud, basically.
Nip it in the bud, because you start with taking your top off. Before you know it, you're wading into the crowd with an erection.
Yeah, and I suppose, as one of our stories about that Michael Richards said, people had their bums out a lot. I mean, we don't. How much nudity do we want involved in the game? Probably none, I would say.
Naked football, would it be good?
No,
I
don't think it would.
How would you even know who was on what team?
Yeah, exactly. No, but it's a terrible idea.
Jenny says, Mark.
They'd have paint on them.
They'd have paint on them.
Yeah.
Just daub them. Like when you see sort of in a club in Ibiza, it's a woman, she's painted gold and she's naked. That could be like that.
Yeah. I'll finish this email from David Ellery.
I wish you would, Gareth, because I don't see how on earth we're going to bring about world peace with this conversation, which is my primary aim.
So this guy on this website wrote to IFAB, and David Ellery responded. I don't know if you remember.
Former ref, I do remember.
Absolutely,
David Ellery, yeah.
He wrote back, Dear Simon, Ray has asked me to answer your question. You didn't need to hear that bit. The additional instructions section no longer exists in the laws of the game, having been removed in 2016. My understanding of the history of the shirt removal issue relates to exposing the bare torso being offensive in certain countries, cultures, religions. For sure, it has nothing to do with advertising or commercialism. So I think what a lot of people have said, and I think you might have even mentioned last week, certainly we got some tweets about it, is that this would have been pressure from sponsors. And I mean, let's be honest, the things that we're hearing from True Geordie today about the FA and the Premier League, you wouldn't be surprised if it was bowing to pressure, would you?
Look, don't take your top off, because that's the moment that they'll photograph, and in that moment you won't be wearing the top.
Yep.
Oh, that is it.
Probably is that, isn't it?
That's it, because that's the press moment. Unless Mo Salah's willing to have crown paints tattooed across his chest.
Painted.
Yeah.
Crown paints.
Do they get punished if they have the shirt on underneath? You know, the best one.
I used to like a message under.
They don't like that.
Like, didn't Ian Wright? I feel like I can remember him doing it a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Listen to some people, some mind games. Tyson Itosa says, I ran towards a goalkeeper barking like a dog. He nearly dropped the ball. Luckily, I fetched it. He didn't say the joke at the end. I added that because I'm a professional comic. I tried to do the Harry H15509101 said, I tried to do the grobbler spaghetti legs when I was a keeper on Sunday League. When I was 12, I got laughed off the pitch.
Yeah. I bet a lot of kids tried the grobbler
The spaghetti legs. I don't know why he did that.
Well,
actually.
it worked. It did work once, didn't it? Obviously, and it worked in that.
People going,
famous
whoa, he's
penalty
just
shootout.
got his legs of spaghetti. I can't beat you. Having legs made of spaghetti is a disadvantage. If I saw someone's legs were spaghetti, I'd think, go high. the legs, especially if the spaghetti was uncooked, it would snap.
I guess it was a version of Martinez the other day, wasn't it? It was doing something different that just freaked a player out in that moment.
I'm having magic lessons, and I wish you'd pay attention to my needs. During the magic lesson, the man explained, that most magic is built on sort of principles of distraction and stuff like that, right?
Oh, God, you're not doing the pirate technique, are you?
I said, "Don't you find this distracting, my man?" He said, "Not really." I barely noticed. Thanks for telling me it's happening.
Abracadabra.
Open sesame. We go. But when he was showing me the magic trick of this, there's a bit where you sort of cut a deck and you sort of glimpse at the card. Is this your card, sir? Type stuff. Well, there's a moment where you're looking at the card, and he's using so many layers of subterfuge, right, to conceal this moment where he's checking the card. And I realised I am a real rube and a dupe because you wouldn't need hardly any of them layers of subterfuge. What basically I'm saying is that most of the techniques that in magic, in sort of ABC, ordinary magic around a party, someone bugging you at a wedding, which, let's face it, none of us like. I don't like the dynamic of magic. I don't like it when someone comes to you, sir, I'm going to mug you off at this wedding. Just leave me alone. Leave me be. I just want to quiet. I'm just at this wedding. I didn't even want to come. I don't like, do you like weddings? No, I can't drink. I'm married already. What's the point of me being here?
Yeah.
No point. So don't now pressure me with a magic trick. And if you do, there's a slightly antagonistic, I'm going to trick you. Are you? Well, I'm ready. Look downstairs. I was ready for a pirate. I've been looking for somewhere to hang my hat.
Well, what sort of weddings are you going to where there's magicians milling around? I've never seen one at a wedding.
Well, there was one at this one.
What's that?
It was, and I didn't care for it.
No.
And I feel you go everywhere. There's a magician wandering around in a garden.
What? I just have to get to this point, and this is no criticism of your life.
Go on, what's wrong with it?
What is going on in your life at the moment?
I'm learning magic.
You're learning magic.
Yep.
You're intermittent fasting.
Yep.
You're eating 2 breakfasts at minimum. I'm
a regular guy.
You're learning jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
You went in a cryogenic chamber.
I did go in a cryogenic chamber.
It's an interesting life.
It's merely a quest for eternal life.
All of it.
No, I don't want eternal life. I just would like to live this one. But look, I'll just finish my point about magic.
Yep.
It's very easy to trick people. That's right. You don't have to do much.
Yeah.
When I was watching the guy break it down, for bloody hell, I wouldn't notice if you did it much more obvious than that.
Yeah.
Is what I've sort of realised. It made me realise how little expertise is required to eliminate quite a lot of people. Something like football that's a very advanced and evolved form now. Yeah. It's probably more rhythmic rather than actual advance. Some people are the trend of the game now is remaining in possession and moving the ball a lot. And now the trend is, sit deep and do counter-attack. These various trends and counter-trends or whatever. Well, with something like magic, where it's relatively esoteric knowledge, even though anyone could do it if they wanted, there's few people that learn it. All you have to do in order to be able to do a card trick is something that's so bloody relatively simple. It makes me, oh God, I'm like an absolute idiot. It's a miracle I'm not going through life being ripped off every 10 seconds because
it's about distraction ultimately.
Such a simple sort of thing. Anyway.
I guess ultimately, look, you could apply this to football certainly. Hence why you still get players using stepovers, which is like a technique that we used to get sketches about on Harry Enfield, and yet players are still doing it because ultimately that's the function that it performs, is that it sends a defender one way and you go the other way kind of thing. But you could also apply it to society in general. We're living in a world in which we're so much under pressure, and so much our lives going well is so much about staying on a particular track, making sure that we do things in a certain way, in a certain order, and ticking all those boxes every week. If someone comes along where they can perform a big old distraction on you, like you could say is done every day by the news and things like that, that of course we're gonna fall for that. You know?
That's a really good point. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Compliment. There's this new app that just gets you to manage yourself. Like you go like, have I cleaned my teeth? Yes, and you press yes on it. Have I washed my bum? Yes, that's not one of them. Have I had something to eat? Yes. Like and you click on it, and it sort of like tells you well done. Now, Adam Curtis told me a while ago that we're all being turned into just managing yourself. That's your job, is to manage you. Like, oh, what did I do? Did I sleep enough hours? People strapping things like my geezer, my mate Chris, who I do jiu-jitsu with, straps a thing to him to tell him how many, what his heart rate is and everything. We're just being turned into
too much,
managers of ourselves. We've got to be free, baby.
Speaking of managing
You have
yourselves,
about 5 minutes left.
Why?
If you
what?
wanted, it's just a suggestion based on your schedule for the day.
Look at that lovely announcement from Jenny Mayfin.
do you want to talk? I mean, we could talk. Managing yourselves would link nicely to discussing a certain manager. I don't know who. Have you noticed Hassan Hurtle? He's not wearing his waistcoat this week.
I don't notice him. These are the things. Rabbit Hutch. I'm not having that. That's what his name means.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're not having it.
He cried when they beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
3, people sort of tried to say he's the next Pochettino because he was a bit good and he's come from Southampton.
Yeah.
I won't discuss him.
Sausage again, is it?
Had to have a little brunchy. The mistake I'm making is I'm not eating any food except for when I'm broadcasting mouth sounds. And that's it. That's an error. That's a real error. Okay, look, let's wrap up these
predictions.
Yeah. Now it's
results.
hard because it's on because of the what I would say is appalling standard of administration. Because what this
I
could
just
look,
got it right, the wrong way around.
what this could look like really is all of the. It could have one column saying Gareth, one column saying Russell, and then they could all be on one sort of little page. But it's what this looks like is it's been scattered at a wedding.
Do you have our predictions from last week?
Yeah.
Because if you do, I can tell you the results.
All right. Yeah, no, the results are here on another on the piece of paper that says fixtures and then results crossed out. Oh, God knows what's
I
on the
didn't
back
want to
of that.
reprint because aren't we supposed to be environmentally friendly?
So look, we are meant to be. All right. So Gal, you. Oh no, I predicted Chelsea. Oh shit, that's not what happened at all.
I think we both got it wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So here are our predictions for last week and the actual results. Actual result. I predicted 1-0 Chelsea. You predicted 2-1 Chelsea. Actual result, of course, 1-0 Man City. United v Villa. I predicted 2-2. You predicted 1-1.
It was 1-0 Villa.
Everton v Norwich. I predicted 3-1. You predicted 2-0. Gareth wins.
Yep.
By getting it exactly right. Leeds v West Ham. I predicted 3-1. You predicted 2-1.
I got it right again.
2 right again.
Wow.
2 exactly right. Leicester v Burnley. I predict 2-1. You predict 1-0.
It was 2-2.
Watford v Newcastle. We both go 2-0. Watford.
1-1.
Brentford Liverpool. I predict 3-0. You at least predicted a draw 1-1. You're better at this than me. That's a simple fact. Southampton Wolves. I predict 2-0 Wolves. You predict 1-1.
No, so 1-0 Wolves. So you actually did better in that.
Well, because I got the result right.
Got the result.
Arsenal Spurs. I said 2-0 Spurs. You say 1-0 Arsenal. You get the right result, or at least the right outcome. Palace Brighton. I predict 2-0 Brighton. You predict 1-0.
And it was 1-0.
Well, you actually got loads. You should start gambling.
Yeah.
But when the fun stops, by God, you better stop then. What do you think of my top?
I love it. Yeah, it's if listeners not watching the YouTube channel, this is the West Ham away kit from this season without a sponsor. It's absolutely delightful.
Because some people, I'm so sorry, because some people don't like it, they'll wear a bet sponsor. I don't like it, but that's the kit.
Yeah, that's the kit.
That's the deal.
Oh, it's lovely, this.
It's a nice kit, isn't it?
It really is.
Well done on your predictions. You're really clever. Have a compliment. See, that's how you compliment Gareth. You just give him a little compliment. It ain't hard.
Are we going to do fixtures this week? Predictions?
Yeah, where are they?
Keep this going. Well, I can read them out if you want, or have you got them?
I've got them. I think that's it. Is it? Yes, United. Right. Okay. All right. United, Everton. Why don't you go first, and then I can copy yours?
Okay.
Like school. See, you think too much. Look, it's meant to be speed chess. You did well. Trust yourself. Trust yourself, Luke. Use the force. Use the force, Daniel, son.
I'm going to say 2-0 Man United.
You think they're going to pull it back together?
Yeah, I think Everton have got some injuries, and
you're actually studying form like an expert. You're studying all the facts and figures. I'm relying on blind luck, and you can see what the results are. Not good. I'm not winning.
God, you'll be all right.
All right, well, I'm going to predict then that it's going to be a draw. In fact, no, I'm going to predict a away win. Everton 2-1.
Wow.
Burnley v Norwich.
Norwich, horrible form. Burnley needs to start picking up points. I'll say 1-0 Burnley.
You're saying 1-0 Burnley. I'm gonna back Norwich to win 1-0 here. Chelsea v Southampton.
I mean, Southampton can play very defensively as they got that draw with Man City the other week, but I'll still say Chelsea 2-0.
2-0 to Chelsea. I'm going to predict that Chelsea are going to have some trouble. I'm going to say 1-1. Leeds v Watford. I'm going to say Leeds 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 then Leeds. Surely they've got to start. I mean, they had so many chances against West Ham.
I want Leeds to win. I like Leeds. Wolves v Newcastle.
Wolves starting to pick up some form, aren't they? Wolves 1-0.
1-0 to Wolves. I'm going to say that, I think it's going to be 2-0 Wolves. Brighton, Arsenal. Do you think Arsenal's going to be stopped in their tracks, that Arteta back under pressure? Or can Arsenal ride this wave?
I think it's going to be tougher for Arsenal than
You've been particularly good at guessing Arsenal's results.
recent games. Yeah, I'm going to say 1-0 to Arsenal then.
We're going to say 1-0 Arsenal. I'm going to say... What happened, Brighton, Palace?
1-1.
All right, I'm going to say... there's no point saying the same as you. I'm going to say 2-0 Arsenal. Okay. Right, there's loads more, but it's too... all right, I'll have to do all. Palace v Leicester.
2-1 Leicester.
We got 2-1 away win. Spurs, Villa. You think Villa's going to win?
Yeah, on current form, I do. Yeah, I'd say 2-0 Villa.
2-0 Villa. Oh, sorry, I didn't do it. So I think that's going to be a draw with Leicester, and I think that Spurs are going to lose. Yeah, I think they're going to lose 3-0 to Villa.
Wow.
West Ham v Brentford. Oh no!
Wow. How's your dad going to feel?
Oh no, my dad is going to be conflicted now with his odd decision to be going up to Brentford. It's a nice stadium. Went past it the other day because I went to see Wicked.
Did you?
Yeah, I took my little kid to go see Wicked. It's intense in the theatre. When it started, she just went up. She was going to just walk on the stage. She didn't appreciate that. She goes, "Well, I'm going to go up there." I goes, "Oh no, actually, there's not many." It's not how.
But she must see you do it all the time. So
yeah, the stage. That's where I belong.
That's where us brands belong.
We belong. I couldn't agree with you more, Mabel. Frankly, but
you are wicked.
I reckon, I can't predict against West Ham because it's disloyal to do that. But I do acknowledge that Brentford are a very good football team and they play well. But I'm going to say is 2-0 West Ham.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same.
Thanks. Now Liverpool v City.
Wow.
After City's impressive performance against Chelsea, what are you saying? I think City will win.
I mean, it's Anfield though, and that's the thing. I mean, look, I feel like Man City they're back, aren't they? If they ever went away, I think that was what the game against Chelsea signified. It was like, oh, you've all forgotten about us, have you? And how brilliant we've been for the last 5 years. I
think 1-0 City. Although De Bruyne weren't great, was he?
Grealish is looking great though.
Yeah, doesn't he look lovely? Why does everyone fancy? I mean, I fancy him a bit.
Yeah.
But why does everyone fancy him so much?
Why does everyone?
My wife says on Instagram, people like to have a picture of him sitting on a football and go, "I wish that was my face." That's what my wife. That's my own wife. That's the mother of my children. She's not saying
she didn't
it.
say it.
No, but she observed it, and I don't know, that's a very intimate thing to do.
Well, I know.
Have a man sit on your face.
I wouldn't know.
You have a man sit down on your face, and now if he's not wearing trousers or pants, what you're doing there is absolutely that's the apex of sauce.
But maybe they mean he has got trousers and pants on. I don't know.
What's the point in that?
That would be more strange.
I'm trying to make this cleaner.
I love Jack Grealish. Is it his little chunky calves and his bum?
Maybe it is that. He's got little rosy chin. I watched him against Paris Saint-Germain and he has got I imagine he's got very smooth
He's got
skin.
a squidgy face.
Squidgy,
If you had to have a football club's name as your own name, Paris Saint-Germain would be an alright one.
It's a brilliant name.
Like, hello, this is Paris Saint-Germain. Hello, sir. How are you today? I'm a woman in this, and I've got like a sort of a fox fur on, and I'm smoking a fag in a holder. Yes, it is. Yes, thank you for inviting me. But what you wouldn't want to be called Hull City.
No.
Or West Ham.
No.
I can't think of
West
another one.
Ham is
that'd
the
be-
worst
Well,
one.
look, I think what we're getting at here is the French accent sounds nice, doesn't it?
Right, Monaco would also be a good name.
Yeah.
Marseille, also a good name.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want to be called Bayern Munich. This is Bayern Munich. Oh, bloody hell. He's intense.
Bayern.
Don't want to be him. Or, there's hardly any.
No. Again, most people say Bayern, but it doesn't. It's
Yeah, I was
We'll add
wondering what you were
that. We'll add
saying.
it to the list.
I'm just going to settle back and have a wow nut and relax. All right, so you still ain't predicted. I've said City away win 1-0.
I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1. Make sure that you. All right, so what about them before we wrap up? So
Oh,
we've done
new
our
jingles.
predictions.
New
Do you wanna
jingles.
hear-
I missed
You
the
wanna hear
new jingles.
Do you wanna
I missed
hear
the
one?
new jingles. Yeah, do one.
There's been a red card, but for who, Chris Kamara?
I don't know, Jeff, has there? No, you're right, I saw him go off, but I thought they were bringing a sub on, Jeff.
That's nice.
Classic Chris
Long.
Kamara there, isn't it? Chris Kamara during the moment
I love
on
Chris
Sky.
Kamara.
Oh, you got to love him.
I liked him when he done Big Tom's show or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
Well, Tom Davis done that show called.
On Sky?
No, it's called something like. It's a detective show. It's
Oh,
funny.
Murder and Successful.
Murder and Successful.
Absolutely brilliant show.
When Chris Kamara's on it, like they say, Matt, our mate, worked on it.
Yeah.
He said that Chris Kamara, people
Took
got
it-
sort of into it too much.
Seriously.
Yeah, because it's sort of semi-improvised, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like a murder mystery plot.
Yeah, TV show. It's good. And Tom Davis, he's a West Ham fan. He's good.
He is.
Talented lad.
Very
Very,
much
funny.
so.
Anyway, Chris Kamara on there was he was like being dressed up as a lady and that, and he was like, well, wouldn't you like to know? I was like, God, like accessed something in himself that he should.
He
shouldn't
sings
be.
as well, doesn't he? He's released albums, like #1 albums.
Was he like a soul singer?
Yeah, he does like Frank Sinatra songs.
Oh,
and
he
stuff like
croons.
that. Yeah, he croons. But he's had like #1, people really like it.
Chris Kamara, he's advertising betting, he's singing, he's dressing up as a woman. He's,
Yeah.
he's living large.
He
isn't
really is.
All right,
Makes
so-
your porridge and jiu-jitsu look
It's
tame.
nothing. Who am I to
Magic
Kamara?
tricks.
It's doing trying to learn magic. Kamara's all over it.
Until you've had a #1 Magic album, you can get close to Kamara.
I've got a long way to go. That's one thing that my lovely teacher Chris made clear. He was also
Or
called
did he
Chris.
make clear?
Ooh, did he just distract me? Riddle me this bit.
It's
all right.
clear, isn't it, Russell?
Oh, you tricked me. What about another jingle?
No one needed to invite me for a night out or a drink. Win or lose, you hit the booze. Take my t-shirt off and string it over my head and drink as much alcohol as I possibly could. But I forgot what I'm about. I'm Irish. Happy days.
That's actually pretty good.
Very good.
Racist, but good. Like not racist. What is it, Jen?
Stereotypical.
Okay.
But it was good though.
But the thing is, that was
And I
Roy
love
Keane
Roy
saying
Keane.
that stuff. And he was
Yeah, but
saying
who
it in
did
a...
that burp?
Fair point. That wasn't Roy Keane.
Anyway, who sent these jingles? Let's
Yeah, I was just about to
let's
ask
credit
Gareth.
them.
I've got it.
You did well
somewhere.
there, jingle sender. I'm sorry for saying that they're not racist at all. They're just you're having a bit of fun. Well done. Thank you for contributing. You can also where should people send jingles if they want to send them to us, Jengo?
Hello, Russell Brand, or tweet me and Gareth. Actually,
You can either
Might be
tweet
more of a
Gareth or
direct
Jen,
route.
or you can hello at Russell
Because
Brand.
hello is a lot of emails go into
A
hello.
lot of because that's where I help people with mental illnesses.
No, that's
and-
the help one.
Oh, help at russellbrand.com. Remember to subscribe to my mailing list at russellbrand.com. Listen to my other podcasts, Under the Skin, at Luminary. You've got to pay for them, don't.
So Tim Rayson made these.
Well done, Tim Tim Rayson.
Tim
Or
Rayson.
Tim Racist. That's a joke. You're not, Tim. Sorry, I just said that. You know what it's like these days. I'm just mucking around. You're brilliant, and I like... I'm just joking. It is stupid. It's just life, isn't it? We'll be
You
dead
have
down
to be
in the
nice
ground.
to everyone on this podcast.
Tim, I love you. I love you, and I love your jingles. And Mr. Bojingles.
Oh, that'll make it all right.
Is it all right
Just
now?
Sing Bojingles again.
I'll sing Bojingles. Everything will be fine.
You can't help it. 1 week it's antagonising Norwich fans.
I don't mean that.
The
I've
next
predicted
it's-
they'll win. What more do they want?
Jingle generators.
Don't criticise the jingle generators. Don't turn the world into a place full of haters. Let everybody live so freely. And if you're attacked by pirates, masturbate yourself to a point of erection.
I thought you'd say Willie.
I missed it.
It doesn't really rhyme though.
Oh, okay.
What would it have rhymed with? I'm busting for the toilet. It's starting to get me because I've had so many damn breakfasts. Breakfast after
Why are
breakfast.
you having 2 breakfasts?
Because I ain't it for hours. I got to have some breakfasts.
It's the magic.
I'm exhausted from learning tricks that an imbecile could learn. You could probably teach a raven with a bag of seeds. It would encourage it. All right, do you think we've done this podcast now?
We've done it. It's 98 minutes. We've done extra time this week.
Extra time.
Blimey.
What do you credit that to? Brian?
It's Brian's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good though. Who should we get on next week? Tony Adams?
I'd love Tony Adams. Yeah.
All right, Ross, yeah.
Yeah, he'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right, let's get him on then.
Yeah.
And who else? No, one guest per show. That's enough. All right. Well, thank you very much. Now, remember to subscribe to this podcast. Remember, get your friends subscribing to this podcast. Listen to us on YouTube as well. And if you got any questions for next week, or do we think of that and put it on Twitter later?
We do that, yeah.
Send us your jingles. Jen, you'll put a size jingle in it. Football is nice.
Yeah, it was in the last episode. Did you hear it?
I did, and I liked it.
Yeah, I did.
It's going to top and tail the interviews. That's
Football. Oh, God, she's really Jenny May Finn. You want to contribute anything, Jen, before we go?
No, what am I going to say?
Well, I don't know.
I was thinking of I should go watch one of the women's football Norwich.
Go on then.
Team.
Do they have a women's team?
Yes, of course.
Everyone has a women's team.
Yeah, they do. That would be fantastic, actually.
Yeah,
that'd be talk about that'd be brilliant. You should do it, Jen.
Yeah, because someone tweeted saying the top scorer is actually female.
Yeah, you should do that, Jen.
Go on then, Jen.
It's huge. It's huge.
All right then. That's what them pirates said.
Quick, end it.
All right.
We should have left 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes has gone a bit mad, but I liked it.
Yeah, I know, you live in that space.
All right, thanks everyone. We love you for your kindnesses. Football is nice.
It is nice.